Welcome to ReviewMean, the channel where we go an extra mile to simplify your movie decisions. Today we will be analyzing the movie Him. At the time of this video, these were the critics that had reviewed the movie. Uh-oh. Looks like John Campea isn't very happy. I'm sure he thinks the movie is awful.
This movie is awful.
Yup, I knew it. Seems the only bit he enjoyed was Marlon Wayans' performance. Rob, his co-host who hadn't seen the movie, says, "I was kind of looking forward to this, and now I'm just... You've crushed my spirit. You've harshed my mellow. I don't know what to say." I guess that's one less person interested in the movie. Honestly, from John's description, this movie seems very, very bad.
This is bad!
Perhaps because of Marlon's performance, we'll give a 1 out of 5 score.
And I'm very excited about never talking about it again.
Jeremy Jahns says, "The visuals are what draw you into this film. By the time you realize the visuals have been making empty promises to you, it's too late. You can't. You might as well just stick around to see how it ends." He also says, "Pretty fitting that this movie feels like a fever dream, taking place in between the realm of awake and asleep, because that realm is where this movie kept me for an hour and a half. A movie where a lot of things are happening, yet nothing really feels like it is." We convert Jeremy's opinion to 2 out of 5.
Him? I got the feeling that it was extremely disrespectful of football.
Grace from Beyond the Trailer says, "But this movie isn't at all meaningful. In fact, I would say it's instead salacious, and it throws gas on the fire, so to speak, in a way that's totally self-serving." She also says, "You know, I'm just not sure who this movie is for." It certainly isn't for football fans. And it's not for horror fans either, because it's not a real horror movie. Plus, it's devoid of the intellectual commentary and emotional meaningfulness that would make it appeal to the art house crowd. We'll give this a 1 out of 5. 3C Films says, "This is going to be a mixed one. This is going to be a divisive one. It's going to have its fans." I don't know if I'm one of them. You don't know. Come on, 3C. Spit it out. Let's hear straight talk from those round cheeks. And so he says, and while speaking on The Mentor, "Marlon Wayans is kind of the thing that ultimately saved this movie for me and made me actually end up enjoying a big aspect of this movie. He does appreciate the craft, but feels let down by the story, and concludes that we wait to stream this one." The average of his scores land at exactly 2.5, which will be our score. Dan Murrell says, "Well, the movie gets the stylistic horror-adjacent part right, but like many real-life quarterbacks that go bust in the pros, Him is all flash and no substance." He also says, "The movie hasn't given us any real reason to root for or against anything or anyone. We've just spent an hour trying to piece together what's going on, only for the movie to say, 'Here's what's happening. Here's who you should like and who you shouldn't like, and here's how you should feel about it.'" Although Dan is not impressed overall, he's not opposed to fans going to see the movie just to see what did work well. He gives it a not a fan rating, which translates to 2 out of 5. Adam from Adam Does Movies says, "And while the actual director, Justin Tipping, who also wrote this with 2 other people, definitely got inspiration from Peele, this movie, this ain't Him."
I see what you did there, you cheeky boys.
He adds, "And at the end of the day, I'm pretty let down by Him. I didn't outright hate it, I just didn't love it. It is just sadly one of those movies that fits right in that middle spot there. I wouldn't say rush out and see this one in theaters unless you have one of those passes. We'll give this a 2.5. Sean Chandler says, "So it's a unique concept. The acting is really great. Everything looks incredible, but it's also a movie that I just don't know that it worked all that great overall." He also says, It's ultimately unsatisfying and doesn't fully work because the script itself, the message itself, isn't nearly as good as the superficial execution and the potential that was in the idea. So, unfortunately, I can't really recommend this film. He gives the movie a C+ and says you can wait to stream it. This translates to a 3 out of 5. Deep Focus Lens says, so, it does have a finish to it that is appealing at first glance, but when you look a little bit closer, you realize next to nothing ties these images together. She adds, this is gonna sound harsh, but honestly, this felt like a student film to me, one that is desperately trying to prove how bold it is, but ultimately it comes out as cold and disjointed. And rather than injecting new life into a lot of these cheeky references, instead it dulls the tension. A student film, yikes. Deep Focus Lens is the first among the reviewers to think Marlon Wayans' performance lacked aggression and menace and was not a memorable one. She does not recommend this movie, ending up with a 0.5 score for us. Austin Burke says, well, obviously this movie takes that a step further as we dive into the Jordan Peele-isms that I believe a lot of people are looking for. Seeing his name as a producer, a lot of people are going to think, oh, it's going to be as creative as Get Out, or Us. But it never quite reaches that. He also says, him has the energy, the style, and certain ingredients necessary to deliver a terrifying and unforgettable experience. Unfortunately, many of these ideas are undercooked and shockingly pedestrian. He gives a 48% score, which translates to 2.4 on our scale. Now let's round up the numbers and convert to percentage. The ReviewMean score for him is 1.9, which is 38% compared to 31% on the tomatometer. Seems like those critics hated the movie more than the ones we featured. So you know what to do. Wait for streaming or see Marlon Wayans' performance on the big screen. There you have it, folks. But what about you? Did our score match your vibe? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if this helped you make a more informed decision, or gave you one less thing to Google today, give a big thank you to the amazing reviewers we featured by subscribing to them, support their work, and of course smash that subscribe button for ReviewMean. Like, comment, share, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, let the numbers do the watching for you.